Hi, my name is Shan and welcome back to the chaos that is Shani and books. Today I thought I would do a video talking about some of my recent reads. Last year I started doing my wrap-ups talking about books while I was doing my makeup, and I feel like not everyone who watches my videos is going to care about makeup. In fact, probably almost no one does, but I said in those videos that I don't feel confident in myself giving book reviews, so doing my makeup gave me something to do with my hands and something to concentrate on while I talked about books, so that hopefully it isn't as terrible as me just sitting and talking to a camera. So I thought I would bring that back for this year. So possibly a lot less people are viewing this because I'm sure a lot of you don't care about makeup, but I am talking about books. So essentially this is going to be my January wrap up. And it's pretty late because we are almost at the end of February, but I only just decided I was going to do this, so here we are. Also, very quickly before we start, I did just reach 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane and amazing. So thank you so much if you have clicked subscribe to hear me talk about books. Hey buddy.
Out.
Owies, what's owies?
Hey, what go?
Oh, you've come to interrupt. Oops. Right on cue for the chaos. Okay.
Hey, Shy.
Oh, what happened to this? Oh, bud! Literally 1 second in and he's wiped makeup on me. Okay, so I'm starting off with this primer. Okay, that's it. All done. Oh, you just wiped it on my arm. Oh my god. So I'm going to be doing, I don't even have a mirror. Where is my mirror? Good boy, wipe it off. Great job. I'm going to be doing a full face of one brand. Again, I think I did it the first time. Actually, I think both the times I did this, I was using one brand. That's okay. All done now. Okay, I'm going to be using the brand Australis, which is like Australia, but an S instead of the A at the end, which is an Australian brand. And I started using them when I was in high school, and they're pretty affordable and they're like vegan and stuff. So anyway, I used the primer and so did Kian, even though we wiped it off afterwards. And now I'm going to use the Fresh and Flawless foundation. Yes, there's sticky residue from the sticker when I bought it. This is apparently a dupe for like a Dior foundation or something. I don't really know. Anyway, so I read 11 books in the month of January, which is very good to start the year off. Oh god, is this too much? I don't know. Oh, great. So yes, I read 11 books. My total pages read for the month is 3,391. which makes my average book length 301 pages. And my average pages per day is 109. But if you saw some of my videos from last year, I actually do track in my journal how many pages I read per day. In a little graph at the beginning of my journal, I just color in, and there's like a key for 0 pages. I colour in one colour. If I read between 1 and 50 pages, I coloured another colour, so on and so forth. So I actually know how many pages I read each day. There were 5 days in the month that I read 0 pages, 6 days in the month where I read between 1 and 50, 2 days in the month where I read between 51 and 100. There were 8 days in the month that I read between 101 and 150. 2 days in the month that I read between 151 and 200, and there were 8 days in the month that I read over 200 pages. So that was the most common one. And I forgot how much I like this foundation. I feel like it's really nice. So my average rating, I don't know if this is right because, so I started not rating the books straight away when I put them into Goodreads. So on Goodreads, I mark when I started them, I marked when I finished them. But I don't put in my rating straight away because I've noticed that I think about it and then I'm like, oh no, that's actually higher or lower than I first thought. So I don't know if anyone's noticed that, probably no one has, but I haven't been putting my ratings into Goodreads. So this average rating might be wrong because I haven't gone back to check my ratings, but I think my average rating for the month is 3.77. I'm going to use the Fresh and Flawless Concealer, which has a very strong smell. Like it's a very like chemically smell. Like it's almost like nail polish remover, which concerns me considering I'm putting it near my eyes. But anyway. Oh, by the way, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Like, I'm not a makeup artist in the slightest. So just that's the disclaimer. So my ratings for the month. Majority of the books that I read were actually 5 stars. So I think 6 of the books I read were 5 stars. A 1 4-star, 1 3-star, 2 2-stars, and 1 1-star. But again, that isn't 100% accurate because I need to go back and like confirm or deny my ratings, because sometimes I finish a book and I'm like, ugh, and I give it 1 star, but it's actually not as bad as I think. Or the opposite. Sometimes I'm like, yes, masterpiece. And then later on, I'm like, what was I thinking? That book was not good at all. So the genres of the books that I read, and I'm going to put on, this is like one thing that I've used consistently from this brand or from any makeup brand at all. I've had so many of these. This is the Fresh and Flawless powder. And some Australians, I don't know, if you used to watch beauty videos, then back in the day, you might remember this is a dupe for like the MAC Studio Fix powder, which I've used that before as well. It is slightly better, but I have literally used this powder. I've repurchased it so many times because it is honestly so good. Anyway, so genres. Majority of the books, as you would expect, are just general fiction, with 5 of them being that. 4 were romance, 1 was historical, and 1 was mystery. Okay, next I'm going to start using some stuff that I actually haven't tried before. I have like these little minis that I have from the brand. When I ordered them, I didn't really think it was going to be this small. Like, this is the bronzer. It's honestly so tiny. But this is Sweet Like Chocolate Scented Bronzer. I can't get it open. Am I opening it from the wrong side? No. How do I get this open? Oh, got it. Oh, my God. Yeah, it does smell chocolatey, I guess. How am I going to use this on my normal brush? So, my favourite book of the month... I have been thinking about this a lot because there's a page in my journal where I have a page in my journal where I write down my favorite book of each month. And honestly, in January, it was kind of difficult to decide. This bronzer is actually good. It's just really hard to, this is like a huge brush, and it's like really hard to put the brush in there because it's so small. I was trying to decide between Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin and The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And I think I'm going to go with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow as my favorite book of the month, because everyone loves that book, and for good reason, because I have these little heart ones which are K-pop X Australis. One's a contour, one's a highlight, and one is a blush. So let's see what also very small. This contour is like not dark at all, but anyway. My least favorite book of the month was Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. So let me start going through all the books while I use this blush. You can't get it, okay. Be gentle, okay, here. Okay, just be gentle. So the first book that I read in January, the first book of 2023 was On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. It's honestly really hard to swirl this in here, but anyway. This is... Ocean Vuong is a poet, and this book is not... Like, this is written in prose. And it is, like, letters. It honestly... is it a non-fiction? No, it's not. Right? I don't know. It feels like it is. It is, like, letters from the son to his mother. And I really, really enjoyed this book. It has beautiful writing, as you would expect, considering it's written by a poet. And honestly, I think I need to reread it, because when I first finished it, I feel like, I don't know what rating I originally thought I was giving it, but it needs to be higher. And I feel like if I reread it, it would probably be a 5. But I didn't initially think it was a 5. This is why I need to think about my ratings a bit more, because I've honestly gone back to this book since finishing it. Okay, thank you. You want to put some on, Mummy?
Okay,
thank you. Okay. Yeah, I've honestly gone back into this book since I finished it and like flicked through to reread different quotes, because I didn't highlight as I was going. Thank you so much. Oh, you're putting it on yourself now. Okay, you can have it. We're gonna wash your face after this. Oh wow. Okay. Oh no, is it? How come it doesn't look like that on me? I don't know. Anyway, we need to move on. I'm gonna try this highlight. So to sum up, I would recommend to sum up, I would recommend On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Here you go. Oh, goodness. Right, the second book that I read in January was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Like I said, this is my favourite book of the month. And this one is about these two characters who meet in a gaming room of a hospital. And from there, we follow them throughout their life. Okay, thank you. Be careful with it, please. Thank you. Okay, great. From there, we follow them at different times throughout their life. They get into designing video games, and these are such well-written characters. I need to read more from this author because, yeah, you really feel for the characters and everything that they go through. And I feel like I'm describing all of these books really, really bad. I'm using this eyebrow pencil from Australis that I honestly don't really like because, like, when you wind it up, an eye at the end, I don't know, but it just keeps breaking off. Anyway, I'm going to use this now. The next book that I read in January was The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This one is this even working? Okay, I need to use a different pencil because this one is... Okay, I'm just going to use one from a different brand. So, The Heart Principle. It is a romance book in, like, the series, I guess. They're all companion books where the characters are all kind of in the same universe. And this one is following the main character who is in a relationship in the beginning of the book, and her boyfriend says that he wants to have an open relationship because he said that he needs to make sure that he definitely wants to be with her, so he needs to go and sleep with other women, and obviously she didn't expect this, so she's a bit shocked. Anyway, so she decides that she's going to sign up for a dating site. Okay, be right back. What was I saying? Yeah, so she signs up for a dating site because she wants to try to have a one-night stand or something, just because obviously her boyfriend is going to be seeing other women, so she feels like she should do the same. Anyway, so she meets the male main character, who clearly it's been a while since, and I've forgotten the character's name, so that's why I'm being kind of vague about the characters. And he is the cousin or brother of someone from one of the other books in the series. So the main female in the book is also dealing with a lot of stress. She had a video go viral, and then there was a lot of pressure on her in her career due to that. She also has a father who is not very well, so definitely trigger warnings for caring for a parent with an illness, because that is a very, very big part of this book. And anyway, during therapy, she is told by her therapist that they think that she is on the autism spectrum, which she had never thought about. No one had ever mentioned to her. So then she's also dealing with this, coming to terms with this as well in her life, and I loved this book. I need to reread the other ones in this series because I read them so long ago that I'm not sure how much I would still like them now, whether my ratings would hold. I don't know if I rated them 3 or 4 stars, but I definitely liked this one the best. And yeah, without going into my whole entire life, I highlighted a lot of passages in this book, and it's just really great that books like this exist and are sitting on the shelf, like along with other mainstream published romances, because this is not only an Asian author, there's Asian characters within this book, also neurodivergent author and representation, and it's sitting on the shelf next to all of the other white, straight romances, and it's just so great that this can be something that people can pick up and like maybe expand their brain into things that they may not have known about, because it did explain pretty well about being neurodivergent. When the therapist did mention it to her, she did initially say, well, I'm not like Sheldon Cooper or Rain Man's brother. And the therapist was like, no, those are stereotypes, which I definitely think that is the first thing that people think about when they think of autistic people is one of those two ends of that spectrum, but obviously there's such a range of what it can look like. But yeah, really enjoyed this book. It was very heavy, so definitely look up trigger warnings. I'm going to start doing my eyeshadow with this palette that I've not tried before, the Beach Days eyeshadow palette. This color here, I used to always put a color like this on my eyes when I was younger. I don't know if I want to do a full look like this right now. We might go for something a little bit less crazy, but let's just see what happens. My brushes are not clean, so probably going to end up with a mix of a lot of things on my face right now. Anyway, the next book that I read is Wonder, which is a middle grade book that I've had sitting on my shelf for so long. Okay, this brush is broken and all the glitter keeps falling out. Anyway, this one, yeah, I feel like everyone knows about this one. It got turned into a movie, but it is a very important read for the middle grade audience. It is basically about this boy who was born with this genetic, I don't know what they call it, like a genetic, abnormality? I don't know. Basically, he had a lot of issues when he was born. He had like no cleft palate, and his face was like, I don't know, things were just like not in the right place on his face. I'm explaining this really badly. A genetic disorder is the word I was looking for. So he was born with a genetic disorder that was pretty rare, and it means that he has some facial differences. And yeah, I thought this was a very important read for the middle grade audience. Deals with discrimination, bullying, and acceptance. Basically, he has never gone to a proper school before. He's been homeschooled because he's always had, obviously medical appointments and things, so he hasn't gone to a proper school. But he's finally going to one, and it is about his experience going to school as well as the other students, and also his sister. There was a really great storyline as well. We're getting so many multiple perspectives, like each chapter or each section of the book is from a different person's perspective. So we actually read from quite a lot of people, and one is from his sister, and it did a really great job of talking about what it is like to have a sibling who has a large deal of medical issues, because it is obviously very difficult for the child that does have the medical issues, but the sibling also faces a lot of things that, I don't know, maybe I feel like isn't always portrayed. We also saw from the perspective of one of his friends who is at the school, and I think the school has like a lot of people who are doing quite well financially. The families are quite well off, and one of the friends is from a family who is not so fortunate. So it's talked about, you know, when all of your friends have a lot more money and are going on these fancy holidays during the school break and you're not. So that was another great perspective to read from. But yeah, I think it's just really great for middle grade readers to learn compassion through this book. So yeah, loved that one. The next book that I read was The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett, which, like I said, I also loved this one and was thinking that this might have been my favorite book of the month. Really, really well written. It is about this small town that is so small that it's not on any maps. And it is people who don't really want to be treated or stereotyped, I guess, like black people, but they also don't fit into the white community. And they're pretty racist in this town. They really value lighter skin. And it is these two twins who are descended from the founder of this town, and they hate living there. This is a historical fiction, by the way, so we are also seeing, you know, racism over time. They hate living there, and then one day they just decide to run away and not return back to the town. And then we are following them in the future, one of which marries a black man and has to return home to the town when he is quite abusive to her. So she has to take her daughter and return back to the town with her very dark-skinned daughter, so she knows what they're going to say about her. The other sister took off and is living as a white woman. She's passing as a white woman. She marries a white man and has a daughter as well. And yeah, this has very interesting conversations about, obviously, race, because both of these twins are doing quite opposite things with their lives. And yeah, it's like a span of like 40 years that we are seeing their lives, and then we're also seeing from the daughters, because they obviously have very different lives. But makes me want to read more historical fiction. I'm going to try this like pink. I don't know what's going on with the gold. Is that just on top? It looks really orange in the screen, but I feel like it's more pink. Maybe I should add more pink. Anyway, the next book that I read is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I also loved this. I was off to a really great start at the beginning of the year. Oh, what have I done? And I should just trust Taylor Jenkins Reid, because she knows how to write a compelling story. And I've been meaning to get through her backlist for a while. So glad to have gotten to this one. It's written in a really interesting way. So we are following like 2 alternate timelines. Like this girl is out for like her friend's birthday or something, and she has the choice to either go home with her friend or go home with an ex-boyfriend that she meets while she's out. And then we get alternating chapters for the remainder of the book of what her life would be if she went home with the friend and what her life would be if she went with the ex-boyfriend. And it was honestly super, super interesting to read. Like, I thought this was a really unique way to tell the 2 different stories, and it's like a romance book, but obviously there's her 2 different lives, so she ends up in 2 totally different places by the end of each. So it's like we're getting 2 love stories, really. And I obviously don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I really, I don't know why I was so shocked that I enjoyed this, but I don't know, I feel like I had kind of low expectations. I don't know why, maybe because this has been sitting on my shelf for so long. Yeah, it was really, really great. I gave it 5 stars and it made me cry. Actually, a lot of books made me cry in January. So did The Vanishing Half, so did Wonder. Did Tomorrow. Did I cry in all the books I've talked about so far? Wow. Anyway, next up, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwoke Emezi. One that I'm a little bit nervous to talk about. The previous book that I've read by this author, which is The Death of Vivek Oji, I absolutely loved. It was in my favorites of the year I read it. And this is a book by this author that is romance, which is a different genre. So what to say about this one? I was absolutely loving the first half of this book. I really love this author's writing. I think they are very, very talented. And the main character is pretty messy, but I thought she was really, really fun. The best friend was really, really fun. Basically, the main character has had to deal with a lot of grief, and she lost her... Wait, were they married? Husband? Partner? I don't know. I can't even remember now. Basically, her ex has died, and she's been dealing with that for the past 5 years. So now she's making some interesting choices with men. But I thought she was really, really fun to read about. I'm going to use the blue now. Is this going to be crazy and ruin this? Who knows? Anyway, I thought she was really, really fun. I thought that the best friend was also really, really fun. And we got to about halfway through this book. Is this ruining this? It kind of is. It's fine. It's too late now. Anyway, yeah, we got to about halfway through this book. And this is... I don't know if it's a spoiler to say the trope in this. I'm just going to call it forbidden romance because I think that's what it says like in the synopsis. But yeah, about halfway through this book, we find out, we get to the actual romance of the story. And that is where things started to go a little bit downhill for me. Because, look, I'm not a romance girly. Okay, this looks kind of crazy right now. Oh my god. Okay, let's just put on mascara and hope that it gets better. Okay, I haven't tried this mascara before, but hopefully it's good because I don't like the one I'm using. This is the Fake It mascara. It's like a little sample one. Yeah, we'll call it a forbidden romance, basically. So I had no problem with the main character. It was the fact that I didn't really feel as much chemistry to the actual love interest, and I didn't understand the love interest motives at all. I can definitely understand why our main character did what she did and why she felt like she was in love with this person, but I didn't understand their choices. Like, it just felt like halfway through, all of a sudden, they were madly in love with each other after just meeting each other. And I just didn't feel the chemistry personally. And I feel like this is why reading is just subjective in general. But I feel like reading romance is extra subjective because our reading taste is really different. But our taste in what we think is romantic is, like, subjective to each person. Oh, I didn't curl my eyelashes. So, yeah, I didn't think that the love interest of the main character, I just thought that I didn't understand his choices and his motives. Like, I felt like he was throwing away a lot for a woman that he quite literally just met. And without giving spoilers, as a parent myself, I would never do anything to risk my children, or my child, I only have one. I would never do anything to risk my child or risk the idea of him not wanting to talk to me, wanting to anything. I don't know. I'm not going to get into my whole life, but I do have personal reasons why this book kind of was like, yeah. But I definitely will continue to pick up from this author because I obviously love their writing. And it wasn't that I thought the book was bad. It was just that I wasn't rooting for the main couple. And in a romance, if you're not rooting for the main couple, like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that one's that. Next, I read Open Water, which this one, I kind of talk about it in the vlog that I'm putting it in if I ever get around to posting that. But Kian literally sabotaged my reading experience of this book. Any book that I picked up, he was fine letting me read it. But every time I picked up Open Water specifically, he wanted to interrupt me and wanted to do something. So I feel like this is the type of book, it's so short that you need to just be completely immersed in it because the writing is so nice. And you just need to be completely immersed in the story. And I couldn't do that because Kian kept interrupting me. So I feel like I need to reread it at some point because it is the type of book that I would love if I could have read it properly. It is basically a, I guess, love story between these two characters. There were also a lot of great discussions on race. I was getting a bit worried at the beginning because there was like almost a cheating thing happening, which was making me a little bit uncomfortable because I don't really like that in books. This mascara isn't good. Nothing's going good today. Anyway, next up, another disappointment. I read Yoba, Buena by Nina LaCour. This author's previous book I also had on my favorites, so I was very excited to get to this. This one is like, it's definitely not a romance. It is literary fiction, but it's like a sapphic love story within. And again, I talk about it in the vlog that I'm putting this in, but it is multiple perspectives, and I feel like I kind of only really wanted to hear about this one character. Like, I feel like if it was only one instead of two, then it would have been a bit better because we were hearing about these two women separately, and then all of a sudden we were getting the storyline of when they meet and then their lives together. And again, it just all of a sudden felt really forced, like they saw each other across the room and all of a sudden they were in love. And I feel like I would have preferred if we were just hearing from one of the women, because I felt like she had a really great storyline. She was from this small town and there was a lot of drugs going on in their town, and her girlfriend unfortunately dies in the beginning of the book. Oh my god, that just went in my eye. That's really painful. Oh my god, I just got mascara in my eye and it really, really hurt. I forgot what I was saying. I think I was saying that, oh yeah, I felt like it would have been better if there was only one character that we were hearing from, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just really sad that I didn't love this as much as I thought I was going to. But yes, moving on to a book that was also sapphic that I did love, which was Delilah, Green Doesn't Care. For lip products from this brand, I got these two like sample ones that are like honestly so tiny. I think these are satin lipsticks. And then I did get, hi baby.
Mom.
Hi, Mom. And then I did get a full-sized one, which is a matte lipstick.
What is this?
My makeup. And then I think they gave me this for free when I made an order one time, because I don't remember ordering it, but it is a matte, demi-matte lip cream that smells really strongly like grape. Okay. I'm always getting interrupted. Anyway, Delilah, Green Doesn't Care, I absolutely loved. Gave this one 5 stars. I thought it was so fun. And I was like giggling and laughing out loud. And I'm definitely reading the rest of this series. It is basically about this woman who has to return back to her small town because her stepsister is getting married. And so when she gets back to the small town, she's in the bar, and a woman who is friends with the stepsister doesn't recognize her, and she comes up and tries to hit on her, but yeah, she doesn't realize who it is, but Delilah knows her, and then she realizes, and then it's like, I don't know, it turns into this whole thing, and then yeah, obviously it's romance, so they end up getting together, and it is so cute and sweet, and I definitely recommend it. It's, like I said, I don't always read romance, but I loved it, so that's saying something. I think this is too pink, because this is way too many colors happening, and this one's like orangey, so is that gonna go? The lighting is making it look like a million times worse than it actually is. I don't know, but quite frankly, I hate how the makeup turned out. The very last book that I read in January was Family of Lies, which, like I said, is my least favorite book of the month. The lighting is making it look like 1,000 times worse than it actually is, but anyway. This one's the prequel to We Were Liars, which I read a few years ago, and I did like that one when I read it. Like I said, this is the prequel, so we're following like the parents of the kids in that one. And honestly, I just hated that this is a young adult book that's going to be in the hands of young people that has a main character who has a very serious codeine addiction. And it is just like brushed over. Like, obviously we know she survives because she becomes the parent to one of the kids in the next book. But it's just so brushed over. Like, oh yeah, she went to rehab 2 times and she got over her addiction. But it's like a very serious codeine addiction, which I don't know a lot about. But I feel like that is part of like the huge opioid epidemic. A lot of people end up heroin addicts. Like, it's a serious thing, and I feel like I just don't like how quickly they just brushed over it like, oh, yep, it's fine. Not that I think this book is going to make kids go out and be like, oh, she was addicted to codeine, I'm going to go and do that. But I'm just saying, if kids find themselves in the position where they have been taking codeine, they're like, oh, I read a book once where the character just went to rehab and they got over it, so I'll get over it. So I don't know, I had a huge problem with that, and that was the main reason why I didn't like it. Also, I couldn't give 2 flips about any of the characters. I don't think any of the characters were likable. It was just, not that you have to have likable characters like the first book. I feel like it was just like rich people on their island just doing rich people things. But I don't know, I just didn't like it. And I acknowledge that the book was not for me. However, I did enjoy the first book, so it's not like I was a hater of the first book and so I read the second book. Because I know I saw some reviews on people saying that they didn't enjoy the first book, but they were going to read the second book just to like hate read it, which is fine if you want to do that. But I wasn't one of those people, and I still hated it. So anyway, those are all the books that I read in the first month of the year. I will do a wrap up for February. Okay, I've been quite literally interrupted a million times, so I'm going to have to go now. Thank you so much if you're watching. I doubt many people clicked on this video, let alone watched up until this point of it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I have to make videos for myself as well, and I do enjoy doing makeup, even though clearly I'm not very good at it. I hate how this turned out, but okay, I feel like the makeup looks better on my other camera. I don't know. I still hate it. I don't know. Yeah, obviously I enjoy talking about books too, but I don't know, I'm trying to incorporate other things that I enjoy, and makeup is one of those things. So sorry if you don't care at all about makeup. I mean, I was talking about books, so let me know what you think about the format of these videos. And like I said, I am vlogging most of the books that I'm reading, and it will be in some vlogs that are coming out hopefully soon. It's just taking me a while to get through them all and then edit things, so bear with me. But once again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed at all, but also recently, because like I said, yeah, we made it to 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely wild. So I feel like I need to do something fun now for 1,000 subscribers. So I don't know, we'll see how we go. But yes, thank you for watching, and I'll see you hopefully very soon for another new video.